the gavel when, at some point.
Okay, good morning, everyone. It's 10 o'clock, so we're going to get started. Thank you for joining us today on October 11th, 2023. If we could stand for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Will you please read the public notice?
Adequate public notice has been given pursuant to the Open Public Meeting Act. Notice has been posted at the board's office and website and emailed to the Department of State and to newspapers of broad circulation within the state.
Thank you. And a roll call, please.
Commissioner Holden,
Here.
Commissioner Christo DeLu,
Here.
Commissioner Abdu,
Here.
President Gould-Sadovian.
Here. And the next board meeting is?
The next regular board meeting will be held on Wednesday, October 25th, 2023. It'll be a hybrid meeting in person at the board hearing room at 44 South Clinton Avenue in Trenton and live streamed via YouTube.
Great, thank you. Just quickly, we will be deferring item 8F to a future agenda. There will be an executive session today, two clean energy items 8A and G. I anticipate it will last approximately 15 minutes. This should be a relatively short meeting overall. Will the Attorney General's office please explain the executive session justification?
Good morning, President, Commissioners. For the record, I am Deputy Attorney General Stephen Chapler. Agenda items 8A and 8G fall within the contract negotiation and attorney-client privilege exception to the Open Public Meetings Act, which can be found in New Jersey Statute 10:4-12B7. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Okay, we will see you in about 15 minutes.
started with the consent agenda. Madam Secretary?
On consent agenda items, 1A, 1B, 3A, 3B, 3C, 4A, and 6A.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
On consent agenda items, 9A.
So moved.
Second?
I am recused from this one, or abstaining.
I think we should do a roll call.
Roll call.
Let's do
For
a
that
roll
first
call.
one?
Sure.
Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Cristo DeLume,
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul,
Abstain.
President Gulsadoving.
Also abstaining. Thank you. Okay, our regular agenda. We are starting with energy, 2A. Dean, you're already up here.
Figure I'd save time.
Good morning.
Good morning, Madam President and Commissioners. On March 1st, on March 1st, 2023, Public Service Electric and Gas Company filed a petition with the board seeking approval of the next phase of its gas system modernization project, modernization program, and an associated cost recovery mechanism. The company proposed a 3-year program with a total investment level of approximately $2.54 million, which would allow the company to replace 1,140 miles of leak-prone gas main, invest in a hydrogen blending project, and conduct a renewable natural gas project. On February 15th, 2023, Governor Murphy issued an Executive Order 317 ordering the BPU to initiate a formal stakeholder process regarding the development of natural gas utility plans that reduce emissions from the natural gas sector to levels that are consistent with achieving the state's 50% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions below 2006 levels by 2030, as directed in Executive Order number 274. On October 3rd, 2023, following initial discovery and several settlement conferences, the company, board staff, the New Jersey Division of Rate Counsel, the New Jersey Large Energy Users Coalition, and NRG Energy Incorporated executed a stipulation of settlement in this matter, which was intended to defer any action on the proposed GSMP 3 program until the board issues its findings within its pending Future of Natural Gas proceeding, initiated in response to Executive Order 317. The Environmental Defense Fund, an intervener in this matter, did not execute the stipulation, but submitted a letter of non-objection to the settlement. The stipulation would authorize the company to conduct a 2-year extension of GSMP 2, in which the company would invest up to $752 million to replace at least 400 miles of utilization pressure cast iron and unprotected steel gas main. PSE&G would spend an additional $104 million within stipulated base spending to conduct additional gas main replacement projects. Additionally, the GSMP 3 petition would be held in abeyance while the board continues to engage in a stakeholder process pursuant to Executive Order 317, with the parties convening for a status conference to initiate the restart of GSMP 3 no later than January 13th, 2025. There is no bill impact related to the stipulation at this time. However, PSE&G estimated that at the end of the program, the cumulative monthly bill impact on a typical residential gas customer using an average of 87 therms monthly, using an annual average of 87 therms monthly, is an increase of approximately $3.51 or 3.8%. Staff recommends that the board issue an order approving the stipulation.
So moved.
Second?
On the motion to approve staff's
If I
recommendation.
could just ask for a clarification, I may have heard it wrong, but I thought you said 2.54 million initially.
I would be incorrect in saying that. It'd be 2.54 billion.
We know that, I just
Thank
wanted to make sure
you.
I thought I made it wrong, but just to be perfectly clear.
My apologies.
Thanks.
I do mumble.
Joe's in the back. Thank you for catching that. Joe thanks you for catching that. Roll call, please.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal Delue?
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul?
Recuse.
Sorry, go ahead.
President Gul Sidoti?
Yes. Thank you. Thanks, Dean. All right, cable next, Wanda. Ready when you are, Lawanda.
Good morning, Madam President and Commissioners. This matter involves the approval of an initial cable television franchise application filed by Comcast Northwest New Jersey to provide service in the Township of Greenwich. The township is currently served by Service Electric Cable TV of Hunterdon. This petition is a request for Comcast to expand its neighboring system into the township to provide cable service and will establish a second cable operator in the township, which is an overbuild to the incumbent operator. On or about March 9, 2022, Comcast filed an application with the township for initial municipal consent. The township adopted an ordinance granting municipal consent to Comcast on July 20, 2023. On August 3, 2023, Comcast formally accepted the terms and conditions of the ordinance. Comcast filed the instant petition with the board for a certificate of approval for the township on August 17, 2023. Approval will provide an alternative operator to serve the residents of the township, along with competitive choice that is sought by many residents throughout the state. Having completed its review of the ordinance, application, and supporting documentation, staff recommends approval of the proposed certificate of approval for a 10-year term to expire on October 18, 2033, which will include reporting requirements detailing the status of construction of the system to be submitted to board staff.
Thank you. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Any questions? Roll call, please.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal Delue?
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul?
Yes.
President Gul Sidoti?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lawanda. Next is telecommunications with Valerie Bullard coming on down.
Good morning, Madam President, Commissioners.
Morning, Val.
I'm here today to request authorization for the release of the State of New Jersey's amended 5-year action plan, non-protunct, to the National Telecommunications and Information Administration. Submission of the amended 5-year action plan is required pursuant to the Broadband Equity Access and Deployment Program, or BEAD, authorized pursuant to the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. Consistent with NTIA's instructions surrounding the BEAD program, the Office of Broadband Connectivity submitted a draft of New Jersey's 5-year action plan to NTIA on August 28, 2023. On September 15, 2023, NTIA returned the plan with comments and feedback. After approving the request for extension, NTIA required submission of the amended 5-year action plan by September 29, 2023. The OBC addressed NTIA's feedback, and an amended version was submitted to NTIA on September 29, 2023. Due to the timing of the amended 5-year action plan submission date, staff was unable to present the amended 5-year action plan to the board prior to its release to NTIA. Staff accordingly requests that the board authorize the release of the amended plan to remain compliant with the requirements of the BEAD program. Thank you.
So moved.
Second?
Questions or comments? Roll call?
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal Delue?
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul?
Yes.
President Gul Sidoti?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Val. All right, moving right along. Reliability and security is up next with Sean.
Yes, ma'am.
Madam President, Commissioners,
Hi, Sean.
how are you today? Good morning.
Well, how are you?
Can't complain. Item 6A is staff I'm sorry, you were talking?
That was a Joe Fairlisa response.
Item 6A is a staff recommendation for the issuance of a final order of penalty assessment for an alleged violation of the Underground Facilities Protection Act by Greenwood Tree Service, an excavator as defined by the Act. On February 7th, 2022, Greenwood Tree Services damaged a natural gas facility at East 12th Street in Barnegat Light, New Jersey. After investigating this matter, staff found that Greenwood failed to call for a markout before commencing excavation in violation of the one-call rules. Staff issued a notice of probable violation and an offer of settlement to Greenwood via certified mail and regular mail, advising the company to respond within 21 days of the offer of settlement. To date, staff has no record of response to the notice of probable violation. Greenwood is therefore in default, and the board is not bound by the offer of settlement. In determining the appropriate penalty amount to be assessed, the board is required to consider the penalty assessment factors that are listed in NJAC 14:2-6.2C, including but not limited to the nature, circumstances, and gravity of the violation. In this matter, Greenwood damaged a high-consequence natural gas facility and created an unnecessary risk by not calling for a markout before commencing excavation. Staff is therefore recommending that the board approve a final penalty assessment of $6,000 through the issuance of a final order of penalty assessment.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal Delue?
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul?
Yes.
President Gosadovi?
Yes. Thank you.
That's it. Thank you.
Thanks. That brings us to clean energy. Jack Strapone, you're up next.
Good morning, Madam President, Commissioners.
Good morning. And this first item was that we discussed in executive session, right, Jack?
That's correct.
All right.
This matter concerns a one-year extension of the contract with Center for Sustainable Energy, or CSE, who administers the Charge Up New Jersey point-of-sale rebate program, and a modification to CSE's contract for them to administer the multi-unit dwelling EV charger incentive program and the Clean Fleet EV incentive program. Staff recommends that the board exercise the option to extend the contract with CSE and approve the contract modification as discussed in executive session, subject to Treasury approval. Thank you.
Thanks. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Questions? Roll call?
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal Delue?
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul?
Yes.
President Gosadovi?
Yes. Thank you. Thanks, Jack.
Great job, Jack.
Dustin, you're up next.
Morning, President and Commissioners.
Good morning.
Bristol Myers Squibb submitted an application under the Large Energy Users Program requesting board approval of a financial incentive of $707,065.77 for an energy conservation measures at 3 facilities in New Jersey. This proposed project has an anticipated total cost of $3,909,563.51. If approved, this application would cover an LED upgrade, a boiler controls upgrade, and a boiler plant reverse osmosis system upgrade at the Summit facility, an HVAC upgrade at the Warren facility, and a hot water pump variable speed drive retrofit, and a low temperature chiller upgrade at the Princeton facility. Annually, this project would conserve 1,035,919 kilowatt hours of electricity, 97,390 therms of natural gas, and 19 kilowatts in peak demand. The proposed project has an estimated annual energy cost savings of $157,337. Staff recommends approval of the application for the total estimated incentive amount.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Second?
Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal Delue?
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul?
I'm recusing because I have a relative at BMS.
President Gosadovi?
Yes. Thank you. Thanks, Dustin.
Thank you.
All right, we are at 8C. Sawyer.
Madam President and Commissioners, this item relates to a motion for reconsideration filed December 1st, 2022 by PowerFlex Systems LLC on the order dated November 9th, 2022, which denied the petitions of multiple entities seeking extensions of time for registrations within the Transition Incentive Program, including PowerFlex's 2 solar projects in Howell, New Jersey. The petitioner requested the board reconsider its denial of an extension for these 2 projects and argued that the November 2022 order contains the following errors. The board misapplied the good cause standard of NJAC 14:1-1.2 and amounted to an arbitrary denial of the petitioner's request for an extension. That criteria set by the board in the June 8th, 2022 Gibbstown order set a standard for administrative extensions without a petition, but did not define the only such circumstances for an extension and should not be construed as a replacement of the good cause standard. The board's denial will result in an injustice to the petitioner, for which the board may reconsider its petition because requiring the petitioner to register in the administratively determined incentive program would reduce its expected revenue. And finally, the petitioner argued that had the extension been granted, it would have been able to achieve permission to operate well within the time frame of the requested extension. Staff carefully reviewed the petitioner's arguments, the TI program design and requirements as established in the regulations, and the board's findings pursuant to the November 2022 order, and notes the following. First, the good cause argument was made by other petitioners and that the board addressed it in the November 2022 order. As the board stated, Gibbstown was an adjudication upon the specific facts presented in that petition and applied only to projects that had similar facts, rather than applying to every TI project seeking an extension. Second, the Gibbstown criteria do not function as a standard for all other projects. The board applied the good cause standard to the petitioner's request, fully examined its individual circumstances, and fully considered the delays resulting from requirements imposed by the electric distribution company. Third, the project timeline more appropriately aligned with that of the ADI program rather than the now closed TI program. The updates to the project status do not introduce new information which warrants the reevaluation of the board's decision on the original extension request. And finally, the petitioner had ample notice that the TI program existed only as a bridge between the legacy SREC registration program and the successor solar incentive program, and as such, knew or should have known that the 1-year TI program timeline did not provide for extensions. Based upon review of the petitioner's arguments and the November 2022 order denying further extensions under the TI program, staff recommends that the board deny the motion and continue to waive for any such petition the requirement at NJAC 14:8-11.4b that necessitates projects in the ADI program to obtain a notice of conditional registration prior to beginning construction.
Thank you. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Any questions? Roll call, please.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden,
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal Delue,
Yes.
Commissioner Abdu,
Yes.
President Gulsadovich.
Yes. Thank you. You're staying with us, right, Sawyer?
I am, yes.
Great.
For item 8D, this item relates to 2 motions for reconsideration filed on November 22nd, 2022 by PowerFlex Solar and ESNJPF Logan on the order dated November 9th, 2022, which denied the petitions of multiple entities seeking extensions of time for registrations in the Transition Incentive Program, including the movement's 2 solar projects in Logan Township. The movements requested the board reconsider its denial of an extension for these 2 projects and argued that the November 2022 order's denial was arbitrary, capricious, and unreasonable, and that the movements believed the board would grant additional extensions because it had granted prior extensions. The movements further argued that the order's characterization of the project's maturity was incorrect, that movements had a good cause for a waiver, and that there was a potential discrepancy regarding solar costs in the board's order and a subsequent order. Finally, the movements argued that it would be discriminatory and otherwise unlawful to grant blanket extensions to certain classes of projects, but not those facing similar needs. Staff reviewed the movement's arguments the TI program design and requirements as established in the regulations, and the board's findings pursuant to the November 2022 order, and notes the following. The movements do not present new information to show that the board made any error of fact or law in the November 2022 order, or failed to appreciate the significance of the arguments made. The motion and the record do not establish sufficient good cause to provide a waiver of the rules, and the TI program was clearly communicated to stakeholders as a bridge between the SREC registration program and the successor solar incentive program, with rules that intentionally do not provide for extensions to the one-year time frame. With the SUSI program open, the petitioner may apply for incentives for projects, and these programs do allow for extensions. Based on careful review of the petitioner's arguments and the November 2022 order denying further extensions under the TI program, staff recommends the board deny the motion.
Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Questions?
Just, not so much a question, just a comment. Sorry, I know how hard you work on these things because it's so difficult to balance our goals, our policy objectives, try to encourage business and these type of developments along with ratepayer expectations. But as you know, there are rules that we need to follow, procedures that we have in place, and our objectivity, not just in this situation, but in all situations, I think is critical. So people understand that we are impartial and treat everyone fairly and equally. So thank you for all the hard work you do on this, and just I think it's very important for everyone to know how seriously we take this role to be objective, fair, and impartial in all types of decisions like these. Thank you.
Thanks. Roll call, please.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal Delou?
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul?
Yes.
President goes to Dovey.
Yes. Sense a trend here, Sawyer.
Yeah, one more. 8E relates to motion for reconsideration filed November 30th, 2022 by Canal Road Solar Partners LLC on the order of November 9th, 2022, which denied the petitions of multiple entities seeking extensions of time for registration in the Transition Incentive Program, including this petitioner's 2 solar projects in Franklin Township, New Jersey. The petitioner requested the board reconsider its denial of an extension for these 2 projects and argued that the November 2022 order denying extensions under the TI program failed to appreciate the significance of the initial arguments. The petitioner further argued that their customer, New Jersey American Water, should be granted special deference as a regulated public utility, and the petitioner's projects should be treated as near equivalent to public entity projects eligible for a public entity waiver. Finally, the petitioner argued that the board's decision to deny the extension was arbitrary and unreasonable. It reflected the board's inconsistency in administering programs. It led to a significant reduction in revenue for the petitioner and allowed no avenue by which to finish the project. Staff reviewed the petitioner's arguments, the TI program design, and requirements as established in the regulations, and the board's findings pursuant to the November 2022 order, and notes the following. The petitioner does not present new information to show that the board made any error of fact or law in the November 2022 order, or failed to appreciate the significance of the arguments made. The board considers that classifying the petitioner's customer, New Jersey American Water, as a public entity would stretch the definition at NJAC 14:8-11.2 beyond reason, and the project is not eligible for public entity relief. The TI program was clearly communicated to stakeholders as a bridge between the legacy SREC program and the successor solar incentive program, with rules that intentionally do not provide for extensions to the one-year time frame. And with the SUSI program open, the petitioner may apply for incentives for both large and small projects. These programs do allow for extensions. Based upon careful review of the petitioner's arguments and the November 2022 order denying further extensions under the TI program, staff recommends that the board deny the motion and continue to waive for any such petition the requirement at NJAC 14:8-11.4b that necessitates projects in the ADI or CSI programs to obtain a notice of conditional registration prior to beginning construction.
Thank you. Motion?
I'll move it.
Second?
Any questions or comments? I will make one briefly. I just want to, again, thank you. I know that these requests often take staff time to look over, and you've been, I think, very diligent about making sure that you're covering all the bases and giving proper analysis of them. So I thank you, because in addition to that, you have, a lot of other policy initiatives that you're working on. So thank you for that. And can we have a roll call?
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal Delou?
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul?
Yes.
President Gulsadovy?
Yes, thank you.
you.
Thanks, Sawyer. Again, we are deferring 8F to another future agenda. And Mike, you are coming with 8G, correct?
Yes, good morning, Madam President and Commissioners. 8G is in the matter of the Ocean Wind LLC compliance filing. This matter pertains to legislation signed by Governor Murphy on July 6th of this year, that being Public Law 2023, Chapter 99. This legislation allows Ocean Wind LLC to retain certain federal tax benefits for its Ocean Wind 1 project, subject to conditions. Section 4A4 of the legislation specifically requires that Ocean Wind, on behalf of the project, post a performance security in the form of a parent company guarantee or other financial security reasonably acceptable to the board in the amount of $100 million. This performance security was required by statute to be posted with the board no later than 90 days after the legislation's enactment or on or before October 4th of this year. On October 4th, Ocean Wind filed with the board a parent company guarantee executed by Ørsted AS as permitted by the legislation. Ørsted AS is the ultimate parent company of Ocean Wind LLC. By the terms of the parent company guarantee, Ørsted AS unconditionally and irrevocably guarantees to BPU in the state of New Jersey that the Ocean Wind 1 project shall reach commercial operation within 12 months of its board-established commercial operations date or any subsequent date approved by the board. By the terms of the legislation, the performance security shall be forfeited if the board determines that the project failed to reach commercial operation within 12 months of the date approved by the board, including any extensions. If the performance security were to be forfeited, the board may elect to return the funds to ratepayers or may utilize the forfeited funds to support infrastructure necessary to advance the offshore wind industry. The New Jersey Division of Law reviewed the terms of the parent company guarantee and find it to be reasonable and advised that the performance security satisfies the requirements of the legislation. Once again, I would like to thank our partners at the Attorney General's Office for the assistance in reviewing this document and addressing the substantial requirements of this new legislation on a timely basis. As I indicated, the parent company guarantee is required by statute and was timely filed. Staff recommends that the board approve the Ørsted AS parent company guarantee and authorize the president to execute it on behalf of the board.
Thank you. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second?
Great, and I do also want to commend you, Mike, and the team, and thank my colleagues for their engagement, and obviously the Division of Law. I know this has been challenging, and so I appreciate the efforts. Roll call, please.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Crystal Delou?
Yes.
Commissioner Abdul?
Yes.
President Gulsadovy?
Yes. That was our last item for today. This might be a record, just want to say that. Are there any items for consideration? If not, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Thank you. All those in favor? And we are adjourned. Thank you. Have a great day.